In race 2, round 8 of the Shell Championship Series. Garth Tander, the man who, of course, won race 1, will lead the way in terms of this race. In race 2, Seaton alongside him on the front row. Crompton and Lowndes on row 2. Murphy and Bargs on 3. Radisich and Ingle on row 4.
John Bowe and Todd Kelly round out the top 10. Stephen Ellery and Rodney Forbes start out of row 6. Cameron McLean and Stephen Johnson out of 7. Steve Reed and Craig Baird out of 16th.
Further back, Anthony Tratt and Paul Morris on row 9. Larkham well back, so too Stephen Richards, who started from position 7 in race 1, as you can see there. Heathen Smurton, McConville and Bates.
Look at that shot. You can see Mark Scaife. He will start this race from pit lane with Mark Larkham behind him.
The revs rising in the V8s. We are away. Tander again like a slingshot. Look at Murphy too. A great start. This time a much better run from Glenn Seaton, though, as they head to the S's for the first time. Who's going to give it? It's Tander. Tander gives way sideways. That is Bargwana through the S's for the first time. He hangs on to it. Look at Barks copping it big time from Crompton.
Bargwana sliding all over the place, left then right, but he managed to gather it up and hold on to it. The Valvoline Commodore stays in the battle. A great start in the FTR Falcon.
I tell you what, Bargwana did a good job there, didn't he? Both ways.
Neil Crompton has been swallowed up off the line there. He started out of grid position 3, but is now in about position 6. Craig Lowndes, the big man to profit from that. So too Greg Murphy. The field streamed through here. The infield section heading towards the Strathfield hairpin at the moment. Glenn Seaton leading the way. Could this be Ford's second or third, I should say, victory of the year in race terms?
Well, they haven't won a round so far in 2000. They've won one round in 98, one round in 99. And the form shown by the Holdens earlier this year, everyone thought this may have been the first season we went through without a Ford victory at all. But Glenn Seaton fighting back at Winton this afternoon. Had to play second fiddle to Tander in race 1, but he's got the race lead in race 2.
I tell you what, that thing of Seaton's is not down on horsepower. You see acceleration. Oh, what's we got? Yeah, Craig Baird looked like he touched the back of Radisich.
Keep an eye on Mark Scaife's progress there. As you can see, the back end of the field coming through. Scaife, a miraculous effort by the Holden Racing team in between races 1 and 2. They have completely rebuilt that front end of the car, which was so badly damaged. He is out there and now fighting his way through the field. Seaton storms underneath our trackside camera there.
That was quite an incredible job by Robbie Starr and George Smith from Dencar. Did a lot of the panel work cutting away there with his angle grinder. Oh, just on the inside goes Paul Morris with Rodney Forbes. Muscles his way up the inside, takes him as they swing up through onto Ford Credit Straight. But I've got to hand it to HRT. That was an incredibly quick repair job, considering the amount of damage they had to do to get Scaife back into this race. He's got to fight from the back, though.
Yeah, they had to cut part of the front wing off and put a new piece on it. I mean, if you saw the amount of damage there, they did an incredible job. I didn't think they were going to get it done.
Scaife from pit lane is now moved up to 30th position. Look at him storming through the field beside Tony Longhurst, who's also on the recovery after his problems in race 1 with that tyre. And he's been turned around, Longhurst. And that's Brad Jones there is with him as well. Boy, oh boy, Longhurst is in the wars at Winton.
Oh, he's going to want to forget this weekend, isn't he?
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? Oh, he's not getting the thing stuck. So Longhurst goes to the back of the field. Been a terrible weekend so far for the veteran. Most experienced driver in the Shell Championship Series.
Look at the smoke coming out of Seaton's thing. He's got to get a bit of fuel going through that thing.
Yeah, they've richened it up. Maximum horsepower for the FTR Falcon. Putting it to good use here, but he's got his mirrors full of a Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Garth Tander and Craig Lowndes, our defending Shell Series champion, trying to fight back in this championship. He needs every point he can get, and he's really starting to hustle the back of Tander's car.
Drove an incredible race in the first one of the day. Craig Lowndes right on Neil Crompton's bumper for the entire duration of it. Didn't put a mark on it, Lowndes. But this is his desperate bid for points now, the defending champion. Look at these three guys. They are so in need of points. Seaton second in the championship, Tander third, and Lowndes fourth in the series coming into this round.
Mark Scaife, yep, continuing his charge from the back. He's up to 25th after starting right from pit lane before had to wait for the whole field to get away before he was given the green light to go. There he is, up behind Chris Smurton, down the inside as they dive into Penrite turn. Oh, Tyler Mecklem, Formula 4 driver, making his V8 supercar debut this weekend in the Ultra-Tune TDK car, but he's taken a wild ride off into the scenery. Let's see if he can get out.
Very difficult. There is so much water on this infield at Winton.
No, I think he's bogged.
Yeah, that is on the entry to the Ford Credit Sweeper. So wonder what the officials will say about that, whether it's parked
Might see a safety car out there. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, the race continues. Seaton defending hard from Tander. Lowndes, bit of a gap. Back to Greg Murphy in the Kmart Commodore. There he is, just coming into view. Bargwanna, Radicic, Ingle and Crompton now back to 8th. Got swallowed up at the start there. Bow and Ellery rounding out the top 10.
So Seaton looking to try and, I guess, emulate what happened to Craig Baird in race 2 at Phillip Island, and Paul Radicic in race 2 at Eastern Creek. Could this be FTR's first victory of the year? There is Tyler Mecklam's TDK Ultra Tune Commodore parked just off to the edge of the circuit there on the entry to the Ford Credit Sweeper. Now we are being told the safety car has been brought out because of that, so the field will bunch up in behind them. So there is Seaton, who leads the way. Let's have a closer look at this. This is, I would say...
Oh, just looked like he understeered straight off, and that was it. Didn't look like he'd come together with anybody, and once you get any undergrowth here, it's about 3 feet deep in water.
Just goes to show what Mark was talking about before, the difference between the Holden undertray, admittedly that's a VS, versus the Ford. The Ford in situations like that tends to act like a shovel, and it's so brittle and it breaks so easily. And they're not cheap, those things, $2.5 grand's worth. So.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I have to say that if they were to make a rule that the undertray would have to be 5 inches off the ground at the front, with both cars, both the Ford and the Holden, Larry, what do you reckon? Do you think that would save people a few bob?
Well, yeah, but then you've got to have a bit of downforce for the high speed these cars do. It's really the design of these undertrays. The Holden ones don't break, and it's just the way you chose to design them.
For those folks who may have just joined us, Larry Perkins joining us for some special guest comments during the course of this race. Larry, you might like to let the folks at home know why you're not out there on the circuit.
Yeah, I had a bit to do with why Mark Scapes at the back of the grid. No, I came around the corner and he was spun backwards in the track, and I've had a head-on collision with an overlap of about a foot, and it's pulled his front wheel off and pulled my front wheel off, and or nearly off, and they've got theirs together, and we put ours away.
It's one of those things, I guess. Not a nice way to end your day. Russell, though, at the moment, 7th position and not looking too bad.
Well, he'd prefer to be up further than that. He was, saying that he hasn't got the traction out of the slow corners that he wants and has had, so that's his own little problem. But still a few laps to go, and if he can get on there, he might make up a bit of 1 or 2 spots. A
lot of the drivers have been talking about how wet this infield is, and some of them have possibly been getting their wheels off to the inside of the circuit and dragging some water onto the track. Has that made it difficult for a driver?
Well, in the qualifying yesterday, we had a bit of foul play going on, where indeed some guys, I think, could only have been deliberately pulling the water onto the track, so it messed up the guy behind you, and that sometimes happens, but unfortunately not too often. But look, it's so wet here. It's like a paddy field somewhere, a rice paddy field. It's shocking out there. Maybe Winton will get some rice fields going here. Yeah,
I saw the aerial shot, Larry, where Scafie and Seaton went off yesterday. Somebody's poured some more water on that fast left-hand king.
Yeah, that's right. That kink's about 180 kilometres an hour, and when it's wet, it pulls about 40 kilometres an hour off. So when you come across a wet patch, you've got no option but to have a big slide off and spin out into the infield.
Lights out on the safety car, folks. We're set to go racing again, and we're away. Glenn Seaton leading the field, a Ford out in front. Garth Tander now throwing out a challenge as they head towards the S's. And Lowndes in tow in 3rd place. Greg Murphy there. And so too Jason Bargwanna in the 2nd of the Valvoline Cummins Commodores. They sweep underneath the old start line, if you like, or across the old start line. I guess for Glenn, he's now playing defensive, Larry. I mean, where are places that Tander or Lowndes might try and pass here?
Well, the best thing Glenn can do is take the racing line, because that's still the fastest, and then no one will ever catch him. But if he chooses to start being defensive, I think it'll be his downfall, because Tander's right on him like there. Glenn's got to race for hard and fast and just hope that's good enough.
Ford Livet in-car camera doesn't get any closer than that. Almost coming right into your living room was Garth Tander. You can see there Glenn Seaton working away inside the Falcon. To get tremendous traction out of some of the corners.
Look at the fuel that got going through that thing, Larry. Black smoke going out of that.
Yeah, I think they might go revisit the engine tuning department when they get home. You don't need all that black smoke these days.
Well, not harming Seaton's progress at the moment. Last lap around. He's, of course, behind the safety car, but he has been turning some very quick times, and the car seems to really rocket out of the corners. Look at Siegel muscling the FTR Falcon around the Winton circuit. There, Paul Radicic as well, getting the back left out onto the exit of the Ripple Strip, which is a little bit precarious, a bit dangerous possibly to do that. Anthony Tratt doing the same thing as well. Lap 7 of 18. Oh, we've had a spinner there. That's Russell Ingall. Now that is on the exit of the S's there. And the enforcer was in 7th place at the time. And we hear from the pits there may have been some kind of contact with Paul Radicic. So how that happened, or we don't know, but we've certainly seen the outcome from Russell's point of view. Paul Wheel getting sideways on the exit there as well. That's cost him Dougal McDougall through. And so too Cameron McConville.
Anthony Tratt's been in a wars.
Boy, oh boy. He had damage to the front bonnet in race 1. Luckily no major suspension damage as a result of that. But he's now lost that front under tray on the AU Falcon. Now, Skate, for those of you keeping an eye or wanting to know how he's progressing, now up to 21st position after starting from pit lane. I guess, Larry, if you're starting from the back of the field, that's a pretty precarious job around a place like Winton.
Well, it's really hard work. It's as simple as that. The track, the straights aren't long enough for you to extend your legs, and he's getting into the cars now that are a bit quicker than the real tail enders. Unless they're cooperative, he's going to have real trouble. And it's just frustrating on these small tracks like this.
Tell you one thing I really noticed with it, you look at Seaton, Larry, when he gets on the brakes, that Ford seems to dive a lot more at the front than the Holden does.
Yeah, he's obviously running very soft front springs there, and that's all you're seeing, a product of how soft the car is, and it's working well for him right now, though.
Larry Perkins, hard luck on today here at Winton. Let's hope your fortunes turn around in the next round of the championship at Oran Park in Sydney.
Well, thanks very much.
Good on you, Larry Perkins joining us there. Sideline for today, but he'll be back in earnest at Oran Park. Rodney Forbes getting back past Paul Morris. So Forbes keen to argue today. There's Craig Baird in the second of the Stone Brothers Racing Falcons. Well down the order. Baird currently in 14th position, and Stephen Richards, who started the day in a good grid position out of position 7, car 7. But after that spin and contact in race 1 has been trying to work his way back through the field, trying to get past Baird. Here's what's happening at the front. Seaton and Tander.
Lowndes up the inside of Murphy, and then Barwana gets through on the pair of them. Whoa! Well up. That's got moved by Boggs. Got a hand.
And Murph, look at this.
Yeah.
Murph got a good run out of that corner too. With the drag race coming down pit straight. He got in front of the Kmart machine. So Craig Lowndes now having to fight for every point. Fastest lap, fastest man on the track this time around, Paul Radicic in the Shell Ford at 1:24.57. Said just a few moments ago. But he's back there in 6th position. A bit more real estate to make up. This is the battle between Craig Lowndes and Greg Murphy for 4th position. There's our lead battle. Glenn Seaton still defending hard from the front. Garth Tander, Jason Bargwana, Greg Murphy, and Craig Lowndes.
Murphy and Lowndes, of course. Don't forget, former teammates at the Holden Racing team, 96 Bathurst winners.
Just amazing how they turned that Kmart Commodore around, didn't they? Like, talking to Murphy on Saturday, he was going, oh, God, this is going to be a hard weekend. And all of a sudden, he comes out in the slowest 50% of qualifying and puts the car 3rd fastest.
Well, he's had a great boost of enthusiasm overnight with the Kiwis winning in the Bledisloe Cup. He's taken great delight all day here.
Don't we know about it?
So that's been a bit of a boost for him. He did say yesterday in that hot lapping qualifying, which got him 3rd fastest. Ellery gathers it up.
Todd Kelly sneaks up the inside. They're going to go side by side up toward the Ford sweeper. Kelly muscling in, takes the apex, and Ellery has to concede.
Did a good job of saving that.
Oh, wild moment, wasn't it? He's now got Lee Geyer on board as his chief engineer, formerly with Dick Johnson Racing. Now joining another of the Queensland-based Ford outfits in the Super Cheap Autos team. So Steve's got some good experience on board. As they approach the endurance races, look at the sideways there. Todd Kelly gets trying to put the power down in the My Car Commodore. He's been working on the brakes between races. Wasn't happy with the car's braking performance. It was hindering his ability to pass. Looks like they're working okay now.
Saying recently too, Mark, that in the early stages of this season and the latter half of last year, he would talk quite regularly with Craig Lowndes and Mark Scaife about their setups and use that as a learning tool, if you will. nowadays he feels like he's getting the experience on board. He's starting to learn what's required to set these cars up, and he feels he doesn't have to rely on them as much. So Kelly, who won race 2, don't forget, at Canberra, the GMC 400.
This could be the best result for Stephen Ellery's Super G Autos team. The best they've done so far was at 9th, and that was up in Darwin, and currently he's running 8th on the road.
Here's Mark Scaife, now up to 15th position, and doing a great job, chasing down Craig Baird, just ahead of him in the Pertec Ford. Don't forget, right here on your home of motorsport, plenty of four-wheeled action set to come your way. Trackside next Sunday, 3 to 5. As always, check your local guides. There's Nations Cup and a whole lot more there. The Shell Championship Series, of course, returns in a fortnight. The mad month of July. It keeps coming at you, doesn't it? Oran Park Raceway, 3 to 5 at the end of the month. That should be a ripper. A reverse grid race in place for that one as well.
That aerial shot was good, actually, because you can really see how quick Scaife is going. He was making an arm and a leg over Craig Baird there.
Well, there might be some people that dislike the idea of reverse grid racing, but I think it's pretty exciting watching Scaife come storming through the field. Tremendous drive by the Shell Series points leader. He started off the back of the grid, and he's really come storming through. Look at Craig Lowndes, though, trying to get that track position back from the Kmart Commodore. He lost 2 positions to Bargwanna and Murphy just coming out of that corner a few laps ago. Just shows how difficult it is to pass around Winton Raceway. The car in front just holds a conservative line. There's no opportunity for Lowndes to get the nose of that car alongside.
Murphy was saying yesterday after qualifying that lap he did in the second session to get into 3rd fastest, he said he just really drove at 11 tenths and was hanging on like a roller coaster ride, and he was surprised that he got up there to 3rd quickest. He wasn't happy with the setup. He feels that the car has handled better here during the course of testing, and the Kmart racing team have done a fair bit of that here. And overnight the boys have tried to work on stopping the car being so taily, and it seems to be going quite well at the moment, holding out Lowndes. And these two are good mates off the track as well.
Yep, give no quarter rivals on the track. Lowndes, flames belching from the exhaust as he comes right up behind Murphy in the Kmart machine. He couldn't get closer than that. Fire out of the corner, down what was the old back straight. Now Dunlop straight, they brake hard. Swing onto the Falcon straight. Lowndes just has run out of options here.
Oh, McConville! And Russell Ingall as well.
Oh, dear me.
They're right off in the scenery. Look how far in the infield they are. They must have been a pretty high-speed lose on the approach.
Through the Ford credit sweeper, I think they may have shot off there and gone straight into the infield, or possibly
maybe off the
Strathfield hairpin, yeah.
They're right out in the middle of the grass there, and as you've seen, cars trying to get out of this situation. It's so boggy here. Look at this.
Struggle out of that.
They might even be stuck there. They are slick tyres. They have no tread. So, of course, they've got no traction. Let's have a look at this again, Baz.
Right.
Okay, so it was up Penrite corner,
curb,
down towards Strathfield hairpin, and
oh!
Now these two, don't forget, after Darwin, this is a shades of Hinton Valley.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason Bargwanna, we're on board in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. The victor here last year, 3 laps remaining. The race leader, Glenn Seaton, but this is the battle now between the teammates for 2nd position. Garth Tander just up ahead of him in car 34. And Bargwanna, you saw him force his way through, and Craig Lowndes made that mistake. And now he's sitting up in a top 3 spot. Let's check out the Be Clear and Simple onboard telemetry with Jason Bargwanna. If you haven't seen this before, that's your road speed on the left of your screen, your engine revolutions on the right, brake applications in the middle, and your gear selections as well. And you can ride right along with Bargwanna as he tries to squeeze the ounce of performance out of this car, try and close the gap to his teammate. At the moment, he's not been able to close it enough to have a challenge at Tander. But this is a good round for Garth Tander and Glenn Seaton as they try and fight back this points deficit from championship leader Mark Scaife.
Bear in mind, it has been a real mixed season for Bargwanna so far, more on the downside than the upside. The upsides when they have been there, a 2nd place in race 1 of the GMC 400 and a storming drive in the 2nd leg, if you like, of the Clipsal 500 in Adelaide, where he finished 3rd in this situation, right behind his teammate Garth Tander. So Bargs at this stage looking good for a 3rd position, but these two don't seem to be able to close the gap to Glenn Seaton. Yeah,
I was going to say, you look at Seaton's time, he's consistently the quickest. Bargwanna there just a little bit quicker than Seaton, but every lap so far, the vast majority of Seaton's been the quickest.
When I spoke to him, he said that they've been really concentrating on tyre consistency with the car. Thought it might be a bit sluggish in the opening laps, but Once the tyres were up to temperature and the car was in the groove, he thought it'd be very, very good on tyres. And he's certainly been able to open up a little bit of a gap on Gartander. We go on board with Seaton, working hard in the FTR Falcon. And this is a very encouraging performance. It would be pleasing. A lot of Ford fans around the country have had pretty dry season so far. Really turning things around at Winton this afternoon. Seaton heads back toward pit straight. Tander in pursuit. Bargwanna just behind him. A little bit of a gap back to Murphy and Lowndes. And here's the battle. Radicic, Bow, Todd Kelly, the Holden Young Lions Commodore, Stephen Ellery, the Super Cheap Autos machine, and Stephen Richards storming back after a great qualifying performance to take 5th fastest. Got turned around in the first race and he's been fighting his way back ever since.
Now this is the battle for 15th and 14th position, if you like. Mark Scaife right there chasing down Craig Baird. He got up to 15th position a couple of laps ago. They'll get the last lap board to go this time around, but he's not been able to move past Baird or Morris. Another point of interest for you as well.
Oh, Baird up the inside.
Baird.
That was good.
And Scaife goes with him. Scaife
he...
tries to, but Morris on the inside gives him racing room. Scaife side by side as they head down the end of that short little straight. Swing hard through Honda corner. Scaife picks up another position. So he's really on a charge. A fantastic job by the Holden racing team, honestly, to get this car back into racing condition in such a short period of time.
From the back of the grid, or from pit lane, if you like, up to 14th position. So Scaife doing incredibly well. Seaton, if you've just joined us, leads the way. There he is, and on course for victory. The 3rd race win for Ford this year, and the 1st for FTR. What a much-needed breakthrough that will be for them. Something has happened to his teammate Neil Crompton, though. He has dropped to 20th position in this race after starting out of grid 3, so I'm not sure what's happened to Cromley. But through the final set of turns, this battle rages between Lowndes and Greg Murphy. And well done. You can hear the team.
Buddy, great drive.
Seaton takes it out here at Winton Race 2.
Haven't seen a smile on this man's face for a long time. It's been a very tough year. Yes, you may well say that, Glenn. Well done. Fight back by Ford at Winton Motor Raceway. The crowd show their approval. Oh, John Faulkner in trouble. That's coming onto pit straight.
So that's cost him as well. Boy, oh boy. Well, an emotional win for Glenn Seaton and the Ford Tickford Racing Team. Third victory of the year for Ford, and the 1st for FTR. Tander at Bargwanna home, 2nd and 3rd Bargwanna. A great effort for him. Murphy and Lowndes 4th and 5th. More after this.